What's up guys, Gary here from Gary Games, and this is my review of Dragon Age the Veilguard after 60 hours. Let's get into it. So the game takes place 10 years after the events of Dragon Age Inquisition. Varric and Harding are assembling a small team to stop Solus, also known as Fen'Harel or the Dreadwolf, from tearing down the Veil, which separates the Fade from the real world. The Fade, a world of spirits and demons. It is where your mind goes when you dream. It's also what mages tap into in order to use magic. That's where you come in. You play as Rook, a fully customized character who joins Varric's team trying to stop Solus. So about a millennia ago, the Fade in the real world were one, and the elves ruled all of Thedas. However, with absolute power comes absolute corruption. The Elven Nore, the Elven gods, who were essentially very powerful mages, began to grow tyrannical, enslaving the Elven people and killing Solus' dear friend and possible lover, Mythal. In response to this tyranny, Solus led a rebellion against the Elven gods and created the Veil, which separates the Fade from the real world and trapped the Elven gods in the Fade, but also cut off the access to powerful magic for the elves, leading to their downfall as they had heavily relied on magic for their empire to thrive. Using that much magic to separate the Fade from the real world drained Solus significantly. He needed to sleep for centuries to recover. When he finally awoke during Inquisition, he was devastated to see what had happened to his people, realizing that his actions in severing the connection to the Fade had contributed to their downfall and their becoming a second-class citizen. Driven by guilt, he set out to atone for his mistakes, determined to tear down the Fade and restore the once great Elven empires, even if it meant destroying the current world in the process. This is where you as Rook come in. You, along with Varric, Harding, and Nev, a detective, discover Solus in the midst of tearing down the Veil. You were able to stop the ritual, but in the process, Varric gets hurt. Two of the Elven gods, Elgar'nan and Gilithane, escape the Veil and enter the real world, while Solus becomes trapped in the Fade. Now your task is to stop these two evil gods that have escaped, and that's where the game begins. Now I know that some people did not enjoy the combat, but I thought it was quite decent compared to previous installments in the franchise. The combat in this game feels like an evolution of Dragon Age 2. It incorporates many elements from 2018's God of War in terms of level design and combat mechanics. Although it does not reach the highs of the latest God of War, it doesn't even come close. In my playthrough, I chose to play as the warrior, utilizing both sword and shield, as well as a two-handed axe. In combat, you have access to both light and heavy attacks. I played the game on PS5 Pro, where square corresponds to the light attack and triangle corresponds to the heavy attack. Additionally, you can choose from 3 special abilities while on the battlefield. When you build up enough rage, you can unleash a powerful special attack by pressing both L3 and R3. In the heat of combat, you will notice a yellow light flash above the enemy's head. This indicates that their upcoming attack can be parried. If you successfully parry the attack, you will stun the enemy, allowing you to land a few strong hits in. However, if the light flashes red, it means that the attack cannot be parried and you'll need to dodge to avoid it. Some enemies will have a yellow barrier over their health, which means that they are armored. You'll need to hit them with heavy attacks to break the barrier, and some will have a blue barrier over their health, which means you need to use your ranged weapons to break the barrier. But toward the midpoint of the game, I was so OP that I just melted armor and barriers on enemies with just normal attacks. You will also have 2 companions with you during combat. Each companion possesses their own unique skills that can be utilized in battle. Additionally, you can pause the combat at any time. Some of your companions may have the ability to execute combo moves. So when you pause the combat, a golden diamond will appear around the moves of your companions, accompanied by arrows indicating the moves can be combined for a combo attack. The game also features a decent skill tree. So like I said, I chose to play as a warrior. So in the skill tree, you can specify your character in 3 classes. You have the champion build, which focuses more on a fire build character that just melts everything on the battlefield. You also have the Reaper build that deals necrosis damage that drains and leeches life from enemies. And you have the Slayer build that focuses on using two-handed weapons that deal massive physical damage. A lot of the enemies in this game take forever to kill. They are so spongy. It feels like elements of the leftover from when it was a games as a service type of game. Overall, the combat is adequate. The developers seem to have taken inspiration from modern day God of War, but they don't seem to quite match the skill of Sony Santa Monica, so it feels just mediocre at best. At times, the camera zooms in too closely during combat, making it difficult to see what's happening. Additionally, there are instances where too much is happening on screen during fights, which further obscures my view from seeing what's going on the battlefield. The levels in this game are very linear, unlike the open world of Inquisition. You can explore 6 distinct areas, but each feels more like a straightforward path rather than a true exploration of a diverse environment. There isn't much to discover within these areas. You can find a few Fen'Harel statues that, when activated, will point to a specific direction. If you follow in that direction, you will encounter a wolf ghost, which will leave behind a wolf statue that grants you an extra skill point to spend. You'll also come across these Solus statues that, when you activate them, have these weird looking things that float in the air, and you just have to break them. Since I played as a warrior, I just threw my shield at them. After you break, I think 3 or 4 of them, they extend your overall health. You also have chests scattered in the world you can find to upgrade your gear. Now, the game's art style, in my opinion, is very bad. For some reason, instead of going with a more realistic look, BioWare opted for a knockoff Pixar art style, but it just comes off as looking really bad. In some cutscenes, it seems like the characters look like cheap CVS action figures. The facial expressions also give off early Mass Effect Andromeda kind of vibes. The whole "my face is tired" meme is back. It seems BioWare tried to Disneyfy the DA series. In my opinion, it just doesn't work. It looks like really cheap, and sometimes these characters look like almost like plastic action figures. It just does not come off well at all. Character Creator is satisfactory, offering a variety of options to customize your character. You can modify features such as body, shape, eyes, nose, and mouth. While it's not revolutionary, it's effectively serves its purpose very well. And I gotta say, the hair in this game is some of the best I've ever seen in a video game, period. I have to commend the team on this one. It is a significant improvement for the Dragon Age series, especially considering the hair options in the previous games were just horrendous. Now, the Darkspawn in this game look horrible, but not in a good way. They look so goofy and not terrifying at all. They look like something from a Disney Channel original movie. Like, look at this Darkspawn from the previous games. Ugly, hideous, horrifying, and now look at these new modern day ones. They just look so stupid, and it really pisses me off. However, the environments do look stunning at times, whether it is the snow-covered landscapes with towering mountains in the distance, the blight-infested swamplands, or the Arthan forest. It all does look truly beautiful at some points in the game. Now, don't get me started with the amount of DEI bullshit in this game. It's filled with it, especially with everyone's favorite Kunari Tash, a female dragon hunter who you expect to be this badass female warrior, but she's just a little whiny baby with mommy issues, and her entire character arc is just her sexuality. You see, Tash does not feel like a man or a woman because she's not a man or woman. She's not even human. She's a Kunari. They're not human. Whatever. Part of her companion quest is her literally confronting her mommy about coming out as non-binary and going as they them pronouns. Like, she literally says to her mom she's non-binary and will use they them instead of she her. This is a fantasy game about fighting evil elves, monsters, and dragons. What the fuck is this shit doing in the game? It's so stupid. And of course, this is the main writer for Tash, Patrick Weeks, a BioWare veteran who's worked on the Mass Effect and Dragon Age series in the past and did a really good job at it. But just like everything the woke mind virus touches, it all goes to shit. And in the character creator, you can give your character pronouns and top scars. It's all just so stupid. Why is this stupid stuff in a fantasy game? Gee, I wonder if it has anything to do with the game's director. Nah, it must just be a coincidence. And during the game, all your contacts in these different areas are all women of color. But when you do your companion quest, all the main villains at the end of them are either white men, white women, or just men in general. It's so stupid. And it's truly impossible to be mean in this game. I tended to use the harsh lines during the dialogue options. So when you have the dialogue wheel, the top would be the Paragon option. The middle would be like the wisecracking, joking option, and the bottom one would be like the renegade or the the asshole option. However, even when selecting the renegade option, you still don't come across as a hard ass. Instead, you simply express something nice but in a different tone. Skill up said it best. It feels like HR is in the room every time you talk to your companions. It truly is the worst writing in a Dragon Age game. One example is when two of the team members are having an argument and you have to step in and put your foot down. It sounds like Rook's talking to them like they're 5 years old.
The whole point of going to the wilds is to get away from all that. So what if you get muddy and smell a little bad?
One can enjoy the scenery while remembering to bathe.
Harding, does it really matter if Emmerich brings 8 books?
9, actually.
And Emmerich? So what if Harding is fine sleeping on dirt?
Not all the time.
And it's like this through the entire game. The writing in this game are just so cringe and so bad. And don't even get me started on how they butcher the Kunari in this game. You had these hulkish, bruised, ugly warrior types in Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age, Inquisition. And this game, they just look like gray humans with soft skin and horns. It's so stupid and such a bad design. It seems like this team is focused on more on pushing a political agenda instead of making an actual good game. And I'm really sad to report that this team is apparently joining the new Mass Effect game team, which I see as terrible news. They're going to try and DEI the hell out of it. And as a major Mass Effect fan, it's like my favorite franchise in any medium period. This news just really bums me out and it diminishes all excitement and hope I have for the game and the future of the studio. It only truly becomes engaging towards the end when you're actually faced with making difficult choices. In fact, throughout the entire game, you only make 2 significant decisions. Though I really did enjoy the final few missions of the game, and I believe Solus did get a fitting conclusion to his story. Although I am upset with the way they treated his character throughout the entire game. They mainly pushed him into the background to the final mission. That's when they really brought him out to be the star of the show. But I did, like I said, find his ending to be very fitting and was overall a good ending for him. But as a Dragon Age game, it doesn't feel true to the series. It lacks the dark fantasy elements that fans expected and instead resembles a more lighthearted made-for-TV movie. While I can't place all the blame on BioWare for the game's shortcomings, since this version did start out as a games-of-service title, it is worth noting that after the success of Jedi Fallen Order, EA allowed the Dragon Age team to transition to more of a single-player experience, with them being able to strip all the live service elements out of the game. game. Overall, the game feels like a letdown and a step backwards for the Dragon Age series and BioWare as a whole. While I think the combat is a step forward in the right direction for the franchise, while the companions in the game are just okay, they're nothing really special, and that's kind of a bad thing when talking about a BioWare game. But like I said, I just feel like I really couldn't understand who they were because the dialogue in the game is just so bad. Like, this game is so poorly written, from everything from the companions to your Rook speech to just everything. Like, I feel like I really couldn't understand who these people were because, like I said earlier, it just feels like HR's in the room and you talk and you fully really don't get to understand who these people are. Actually, there are barely any choices in the game that feel consequential. Most of the main missions are pretty impressive, featuring some cool action set pieces, and like I said, I do believe Solus got a fitting ending to his story. But man, all the DEI bullshit shoved in this game really put me off of it, and it feels like this game was made by a bunch of rookie developers who are still learning how to make AAA games. This game really feels like the team was more focused on pushing a political agenda instead of making an actual good game. It saddens me to say this is not the triumphant return of BioWare we were hoping for, and we'll probably never get to see that golden age of BioWare again. Overall, I would give Dragon Age the Veilguard a 5 out of 10. But tell me, what do you guys think? Did you play the game at all? And if you did, do you agree with my score? Until next time, guys, take care. Bye.